Hi, Sam here for Roberts Geospatial. Let's take a look at some Sentinel-2 Earth observation imagery. I want to show you how to render the land and the water differently, and we're going to look at water that's coming out of the Hawkesbury River, which is all dirty. There's been a flood event, and we're going to look at a way to differentiate between that dirty water and other water contaminants using a spectral index. So let's get straight into it. ProRaster Scientific. So let's bring in my Sentinel imagery. I'm going to add scenes to a new database by searching for folders. The new database name will be River. Going to see data, satellite, Hawkesbury flood. Here's my 4 Sentinel scenes. That's been brought in now, and I have a database with 4 scenes in them. So we're just going to look at one scene, Sentinel2b, the 13th of April, HLH. So I'll render that scene using natural color. So here's your different band combinations that you can choose. We'll just choose natural color. And here's our scene rendered in ProRaster. So we'll just bring that up a bit. Quite often you want to punch up the color a little bit, so you can just put that up, or sometimes you can change the clip a little bit and you'll brighten it up. Sometimes the default isn't particularly good. So here's the Hawkesbury River, and you can see that there's dirty water flowing out of the Hawkesbury and going up the coast, and this is where I live up here, so I don't want to go swimming in this water, and if you stand on the cliffs out here you can see this demarcation line between the dirty water and the clean water. But there's other discolorations in the water. You can see these sort of wispy effects out here. This is probably all algae. This is wispy effects. But looking at it with this band combination, it all looks as though it's the same kind of thing. So we want to differentiate between that stuff. Let's get rid of that. I'm going to go back to my scene database, and I'm going to create a scene product. So let's put that into a new database called River. So here's my scene product. We can close that off now. I want to render the land and the water differently. Now I can do that just with a rendering algorithm, but then the statistics of the land pixels and the water pixels will be all mixed in together. I want to separate them so that my statistics apply to land and water separately. So I'm going to right click on this scene and mask by raster. Firstly, I'm going to mask by the land band, and if I look at my preview, you can see now that I've just got pixels that are over the land. Here's the river system, and also all these gaps are cloud. That cloud has also been masked out. Do this again and mask by raster, and this time I'm going to mask by water. So click on that, and now we have the water data set, and here's the river that we're interested in. So now I can render these in ProRaster. So right click on the land and say render now. I'm going to use the natural color band combination for land. There it is. And then right click on the water, and now I'm going to say render now to a layer. So I'm going to add an additional layer into the current algorithm. And for the water, I'm going to choose the bathymetric band combination, red, green, and coastal aerosol. So here's my algorithm. So let's take that down, and we'll just make this a bit bigger. And I'm interested in what's going on up here. So firstly, we'll go to the land. That was the first one I added. So as before, we'll brighten that up a little bit. And that looks a little bit better. And then we'll go to our water, and we'll probably brighten this up quite a lot. And now you can see the discoloration in the water quite clearly. You can see this clear tongue of discolored water going up the coast. So So what we're doing here is we're rendering the land pixels using one data transform for the color, and we're rendering the water pixels for another data transform. So if we can turn the water off, they'll disappear, turn them all back again. So let's go back to our scene editor. Now I want to find some kind of spectral index which highlights the difference between these wispy algae discoloration and this brown water. So let's go to our water, right click and say I want an index. Now I don't know which index is going to be most appropriate. So what I can do is I can just click on all of the indices. So if you go into here, you see all these indexes have been selected. And so we're going to create a virtual raster with, I don't know, 100 bands. But it's only a virtual raster, so no actual processing happens. Let's display that now. And perhaps we'll bring that over here as before. So I go into my color band, and here's all my indices that I've selected. So let's zoom in here a little bit. And now I can just flip through these indices and look for one that differentiates between this water, which is the flood water, and these effects, which are probably blue-green algae. That's the iron index. Now, as these are all virtual rasters, your hard disk is not filling up with processed data. Everything happens on demand as you require it, just for what you're visualizing on the screen. So we haven't actually produced any additional data sets at this stage. We're just going directly from the original Sentinel2 imagery files. So what I found is there's an index down here called the shape index, and I thought that differentiated between this flooded blue water here and the algae in red. So let's go with the shape index. So I'll turn that one off. We'll come back to here, and now I'm going to say display this now to a layer that goes into my algorithm. I'm going to choose the shape index, which was IF. Let's just close that now. Now, to make this look a bit better, we'll choose a different color table. So I'm going to go with this blue to brown color table. Double click on that to select it. And I want this to be brown instead of blue, so I'll just reverse that. And now we're getting the kind of effect that we want. We can fiddle with this to see if we can get some better differentiation. So now we're seeing the brown floodwater, we're seeing the algae in blue, and we're getting quite a nice differentiation between those things. Oops, maximize that. And up here is where I live, and as you can see, it's all nasty and dirty. And as you go down the coast, you can see that close to the coastline, you're getting some you're getting some dirty water coming out of these lagoons that are up and down the coast in Sydney. Here is the Sydney Harbour. You can see most of the harbour is pretty clear, but as you go deeper into the harbour, it becomes more flood affected. And further down here, system's slowing down a bit. Further down here, we come down to Botany Bay, and you can see that this river system has pumped quite a lot of sediment out into Botany Bay. So that's ProRaster Scientific, shows you how to render your land and your water differently, and how to find an index that differentiates between the features that you're interested in, and put it all together into one display. Thanks for watching.